In 2017, the FDA approved a new diabetes drug called Ozempic. Nobody outside of endocrinology paid much attention. Then, something unexpected happened. Patients started losing significant amounts of weight, and the entire world noticed. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1, which sounds like something a scientist made up to confuse Max on purpose. But here is what it actually means in plain English. Your body naturally produces a hormone called GLP-1 every time you eat. It tells your brain you are full, it slows down digestion, and it regulates your blood sugar. GLP-1 drugs work by mimicking that hormone. They make your body think it is full, even when it is not. Nobody told Max his brain could be tricked by a weekly injection. The drugs were originally developed in the 1980s and 1990s to treat type 2 diabetes. Scientists noticed that a compound found in the saliva of a Gila monster lizard, yes, a lizard, stimulated insulin production in a very similar way to GLP-1. Nobody told Max that the weight loss revolution started with lizard spit. The first GLP-1 drug approved for diabetes was Byetta in 2005. Then came Victoza in 2010. Then Ozempic in 2017, approved specifically for type 2 diabetes. Then something changed. Patients and doctors started noticing dramatic weight loss as a side effect. Not a little weight loss, significant weight loss. In clinical trials, patients lost an average of 15% of their body weight. Some lost 20% or more. Nobody had ever seen numbers like that from a non-surgical weight loss treatment. The FDA approved Wegovy, a higher dose version of the same drug, specifically for weight loss in 2021. Mounjaro and Zepbound use a compound called Tirzepatide, which activates 2 receptors instead of 1, and, in clinical trials, showed even better results than Ozempic, with patients losing around 20% of their body weight. Today, there are 4 main players in the GLP-1 market that Max needs to know about. Ozempic, semaglutide, weekly injection, originally for diabetes, now widely used off-label for weight loss. Wegovy, same drug as Ozempic, higher dose, FDA approved specifically for weight loss. Mounjaro, Tirzepatide, weekly injection, originally for diabetes, activates 2 receptors, more effective than semaglutide for weight loss. Zepbound, same drug as Mounjaro, FDA approved specifically for weight loss. As of 2024, over 12% of Americans, that is 41 million people, have used a GLP-1 drug. U.S. spending on these drugs surged from $13.7 billion in 2018 to $71.7 billion in 2023. That is a 500% increase in 5 years. The global GLP-1 market is estimated at $66 billion in 2025 and is projected to reach $880 billion by 2034. Nobody told Max that lizard spit was going to become one of the most valuable pharmaceutical discoveries in human history. But here is where it gets really interesting for everybody. Households with at least one GLP-1 user reduced grocery spending by about 5.5 to 6% within 6 months of starting the drugs. They buy fewer chips, fewer baked goods, fewer cookies. Spending on those categories dropped by as much as 11%. They eat less at fast food restaurants, particularly at breakfast and dinner. And by 2030, GLP-1 users are projected to account for 35% of all food and beverage sales in America. Nobody told Max that a diabetes drug was going to restructure the entire food industry. Food companies are already responding. Nestle launched a GLP-1 friendly frozen food line in 2024 with smaller portions and higher protein. Smoothie King created a dedicated GLP-1 support menu. Companies across the food industry are racing to create smaller portions, higher protein, and more nutrient-dense products specifically for GLP-1 users. The billion-dollar question facing every food company right now is, how do you make someone who is not hungry want to eat your product? Nobody told Max that question was going to keep the entire food industry awake at night for the next decade. And the story is just getting started. Researchers are currently running trials on GLP-1 drugs for Alzheimer's disease, addiction, sleep apnea, kidney disease, cardiovascular disease, and even certain cancers. The drug that started as a diabetes treatment, discovered through lizard spit, quietly approved in 2017, may turn out to be one of the most transformative medical discoveries of the 21st century. Nobody told Max that was hiding inside a weekly injection, but now you know. Subscribe to Nobody Told Me, because the most important lessons are always hiding in plain sight, and somebody has to explain them in stick figures.